Hi, this is Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to the video tutorial for the LSP Boho Bowl, the Lace Fleece digital background. This is part of the LSP Boho Simplicity digital background range, available at www.lsp-actions.com. When you download from the website and open up into Photoshop, you'll notice you have 3 layers in your layers panel. If you can't see your layers panel, come up to Window and hit Layers. You have the base layer, which is the bowl. Above this there's a placeholder for place your baby image here. You can either place directly into this transparent box here, or it might appear just above it, but either way is absolutely fine. And then above this you have a fleece wrap over the baby, which you can turn on or off. So your baby will be nestled in here and the fleece wrap will be over the top. So let's get started with placing the baby. The image you're going to want to use, you're going to want to shoot on a creamy neutral background, ideally for the easiest compositing. If you have any fluff, the felty fur like this, it's going to make it 10 times easier because you can blend. If you've shot baby without shooting for this digital on, for example, a white background or a cream background, you're going to need to do a little bit more masking, but either way is absolutely fine. You can add baby by hand, or you can go on the LSP Actions website and download the LSP Newborn Digital Background Composite Kit, which has all these actions that allows you to add baby and add blending layers. I'm going to use that for this tutorial, but I'm also going to talk about how you can do it manually, just in case you don't have these actions and you prefer to do it by hand. If you're adding baby by hand, you need to come up here to File and choose Place Embedded to locate the edited baby image on your computer. I recommend editing the image first. Don't just use a raw or straight out of camera shot. Edit it so you've got a nice light, plain, breezy kind of image, not overly contrasty, not overly bright. You want something nice and muted to go in. Just going to nip these actions in on the side here. That's it. But the add baby on these actions does the same thing too. So locate your edited baby image on the computer, if you're using File, Place Embedded, or if you're using the actions, and you'll see it it appears like this, kind of free floating over the digital background. It may appear in the Place Baby Here box, or it may appear above it. Either way, doesn't matter. This digital is lit from the left, so you're going to want your image to be lit from the left too. If it's lit from the right, you just need to right click and choose Flip Horizontal, just to make sure the baby fits in. Double click to place. The actions will actually do this for you. They shrink the baby down and they make the layer semi-transparent to allow you to position properly. If you're adding by hand, you just need to come up to the opacity here and slide it down a little bit. So position baby where you want them to sit in the bowl. This image here is by Anna Brandt. And when you're happy, double click or hit enter. The actions are playing out and they've actually added this into a group and added a black layer mask. If you're adding by hand, you need to just remove that. You need to add a layer mask by coming down here to this little icon, the rectangle with a circle in the middle, and that will add a layer mask. To invert it to black, you hold down Control or Command and hit I. A brush has been selected for you on the actions, but again, if you're adding by hand, click on Brush, click on White, and you can start brushing the baby in. If you're using Photoshop Creative Cloud, you can also use the Select Subject options, which depending on the digital background in your image may be an easier option, but I'm just showing you the manual way of doing it here. I try and use different methods in all the tutorial videos so that you can kind of learn as you go, really learning different techniques for adding baby in. I'm going to zoom in nice and close. Switch the brush to black, because the layer mask is a bit like a lottery scratch card. So the layer is still there, the image is still there, but the mask you can paint on black to hide any areas and white to show. And turn that hardness up a little bit and the flow up. And that way it means you can switch between black and white to decide what you want to show and what you want to hide in your image. So take a little bit of time to mask neatly. If you've shot on a similar background, for example, this area here, there is some fluff already in there that's rather similar. You don't need to worry about your masking too much, so that makes it a lot easier for you. If you shoot on a neutral or a creamy coloured background, preferably the felt too, and that's going to make your editing so much easier. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit and go a little bit fast while I just use a black and white brush all around the edge of baby, with varying hardness depending on how soft or hard the area is I need to composite in. And you can switch between a black and a white brush really easily on your keyboard rather than keep clicking by using the keyboard shortcut for your brush, which is X. So hit B for brush, and then you can just have your finger on X, and this way you can switch between black and white really, really easily. So if you go over an area a little bit too closely, you can just hit X, switch back to white and paint it back in again. If you shot on a similar texture, it allows you to keep the shadows in as well, which is going to make it a lot easier when it comes to editing this. So once you've added the baby image in, you may need to add some additional editing layers. I mean, I do recommend editing the baby first anyway. Edit the skin, the reds, the flakes, anything like that. And once you add baby in, you may notice they're too bright or too dark or too contrasty, perhaps not contrasty enough. So this is when you need to start adapting the image for the digital background. Just add a tiny bit left in there. At this point you can choose whether you want to have the fleece wrap over the baby or not. That really nestles baby into the bowl and can make it look a lot more 3D. So it's up to you if you want to do that. I'm using the actions to add the main baby editing layers in here. But you can also add your own layers by coming down here to the little icon that looks like two circles, a little semicircle, half and half, and add adjustment layers and clip them in by using right click, create clipping mask to your baby layer. The actions are great though because they create things like gentle shadowing under the baby. All of them are layer masks, so you can just paint these on. They also shadows over the top of the baby too. So you can add these in to add much more depth into your image there. Because this is a white one, I'm going to use the blending whites option here on the actions, and these will add some colouring options and some shading options for white images. This newborn is a white image, the background is very pale, so I recommend using these if you're using the actions. So this is white blend, so what this is going to do, I'm going to take that down a little bit. This is actually blending the tones of baby in with the background. So I'm using a white brush to show this and a black brush to paint away anywhere where it doesn't need to be showing. And that's just nestling the baby in a little bit more and blending those tones a little bit better with the original digital. Just pull this out a bit so we can see the layers here. Taking the whites down, you can do that if the whites are too bright. Adding some contrast into the whites. I'm going to add a little bit of contrast back. So I'm just going through these and painting them on. Just adding a little bit of warmth to those whites too. But you can of course go through, your editing steps will be, they'll vary depending on your original image and what you need to do to make this image nestle in. Now I'm going to turn the fleece wrap on just by clicking the little eye icon next to it here. And you can see baby is now nestled into that fleecy background. You can hold down Control or Command T to resize the baby, to move the baby around if you wanted to. So because I'm using the fleece wrap, I'm just going to nestle her into this bowl a little bit more. There's a layer mask on the Your Baby group that's been created, but if not, you can add your own layer mask by clicking down here on the little square with the circle in it. I'm just going to grab a black brush and paint some of this away. So there we have before and after using the LSP Boho Bowl. I did use the newborn digital background actions to add baby in, but it's up to you whether you would like to use those or add by hand. There are plenty of tutorials when it comes to compositing digital backgrounds, and also there's more tutorials on the LSP website as well. This is available at www.lsp-actions.com, and this is part of the Boho Simplicity range, and you can get those on the website. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.